Hey y'all,
Hey everybody.
this is Melinda and Keith Ware, and welcome to our channel, Ware's True Love, where we enjoy sharing our adventures of travel and our love for travel and excitement and for each other. So welcome to our channel. If this is your first time, we hope that you enjoy it. Please subscribe, like, and share these videos. We would just love to just share our experiences with everyone and hope to give you inspiration on your travels and things that are upcoming. We just wanted to touch base. It's been just a little bit since we've gotten back from our Route 66 road trip that we took a couple of months ago, where we honored Black travelers who had struggles traveling during the Jim Crow era, and those white individuals who helped them along the way. We are about to set off on another short adventure. We have a camping trip coming up. We have a travel trailer. We love to take it around and visit different areas. We love state parks over private resorts because we have learned, and we've done a lot of tent camping before, but a few years ago, maybe 3-4 years ago, we decided to get a travel trailer because it just opened up a lot more travel opportunities for us. Plus, we're getting a little older, and our knees don't work as well as they used to with getting in and out of tents like we used to. But we have a couple of camping trips coming up, and we wanted to talk about that for a second. And then also, we have started planning our next year. Each year we go on a pretty extensive or elaborate or unique trip for 2 weeks. We both work full-time, so we don't get to travel as much as we like to, but so when we do, we really like to do something that's very meaningful to us. And we always bring back our travel information to our friends and church members and people who are interested in that. So we hope that you'll be interested in that. So this is just a quick video to tell you about some upcoming things that we have. And then later on, as we go into these events, we'll share more in-depth information. So we have a trip coming up for Labor Day weekend. We're leaving on Wednesday and we'll be back on Tuesday. So we've extended it because we live in Tennessee, but we like to go to, and I love Tennessee state parks. We have some of the most beautiful state parks, but every once in a while we like to travel outside of Tennessee, and we've learned that Arkansas has some very beautiful state parks that we really love. We've been to Lake Catherine State Park and camped. That was our last tent camping adventure in 2020. And then just a couple of months after that, we decided to get a camper. So in 2021 up to 2023, we went to Lake Ouachita State Park in Arkansas, and we love those because they're real close to Hot Springs, Arkansas, where we could drive into town and get just a break from camping food. We'd go, there's a couple of restaurants that we love in Hot Springs. But while we were there last year, or a couple of years ago, the camp host said, if you ever get a chance to go to Bull Shoals White River State Park, that's one of Arkansas's most beautiful state parks. So a couple of years, for the last couple of years, we try to get spots in Bull Shoals, but they fill up so quickly. You have like a year, you can book it out like a year ahead of time, but they were always so filled. We would even start the day and they were so full. But fortunately this year we were able to get a spot. So we're very excited to see what that park has to offer. We really love Lake Ouachita. So if we end up not liking Bull Shoals as much as Ouachita, we're going back to Ouachita. We really love Lake Ouachita. But Bull Shoals, we've learned, is a home of the world famous trout fishing. So they have competitions there for trout fishing. Now we're regular fisher people. So Keith today, he was so funny. He said, I wouldn't know what to do with a trout if I caught one. So we're going to do some fishing, but we're going to have to do some YouTube searches and make sure we know what to do in case we do catch trout. Now, there's special permits you have to catch the trout. But so we're going to look into that before we go. So that's coming up. And we also learned that Bull Shoals is only like an hour and a half from Branson, Missouri. And here in Tennessee, we have Gatlinburg, that's in the base of the Smoky Mountains, the Great Smoky Mountains. So we hear that Branson is a lot like Smoky Mountains. So, I'm sorry, like Gatlinburg. So we're going to take a day trip up there and just go spend the day up in Branson, Missouri, and see what they have. We're taking a pair of nice clothes, and so we won't look like we've been camping all week. But we plan on doing that while we're there, just taking a quick trip up to Branson. So that's coming up this week. Next month we have a camping trip to Cumberland Island National Seashore, and that's off. It's a little island off the coast of Georgia, St. Mary's, Georgia. It's only accessible by ferry or boat if you have your private boat. But we're going to be going there next month, and it's very primitive campsites. They do have cold showers. There's no warm water on there. So we're real excited about that, and that's the home of one of the last places that have wild horses that just roam around on the island and the beach. And then they have ruins of a mansion, of an old mansion that was built by the Carnegies that we're going to be able to go visit. So we plan on doing a lot of hiking. We're taking our electric bikes. We're going to be doing a lot of biking and hiking for the 3 or 4 days that we're going to be there. So that's coming up next month. And then we have another camping trip at one of our favorite places here in Tennessee that's not far from where we live. It's called Defeated Creek Campground, and it's an Army Corps of Engineer operated campground, and it's very nice. It's one of our favorite places to camp. We do kayaking there too, but in October it might be a little bit too cold for us. I know people do kayak in the late fall, but that might be a little bit too cold for us. So we won't be taking our kayaks, I don't think, for that trip. We will be taking them for Bull Shoals this coming up weekend. So that's the trip we have. And then after that, that's in October. In November, we have a cruise that we're going to be taking. And it's just a standard Caribbean cruise, Ochos Rios, Jamaica, and Grand Cayman Islands, and I think it's Cozumel. But it's a cruise that we wanted to do with our church family, so we were able to find somebody to put this cruise to find us a cruise. So we'll be doing that. But before the cruise, we're going to be spending 4 days at our favorite place in Florida called Hollywood Beach. We love Hollywood Beach. We've been going there, spending Christmases there for the last 3 or 4 years. We just go down and spend, because our kids are grown. They have families of their own, and they live in different states. So, you know, after a while of waiting for our kids to come home for holidays, we've decided, you know what, we're young enough, we're going to start going wherever we want to. So now we just go to Florida and spend Christmas. We stop by and see the kids on the way down sometimes. But we do love spending time there. So three nights, 4 days before our cruise leaves, we're going to be spending it at Hollywood Beach, where they have mamacitas. We can get all kinds of Latin food and lots of ocean time and sun time. So we're really looking forward to that. And then a nice cruise. And then we come back and then, you know, work a couple of more weeks, and then we're off again back to Hollywood Beach for Christmas and New Year's. We always spend New Year's Eve there and New Year's Day. So we have those things coming up to finish out this year with. And to get to our next big trip, which it will happen next June and July, we always schedule our big trip around Keith's schedule, because he works in the manufacturing industry, and they have a plant shut down for 2 weeks. I work for a public entity, and so I'm able to schedule my time around his. So like I said, this past year, and we've been to places before. We've been to, and we've only been married, it'll be 9 years next month. But in the short time that we've been married, we've been to Maui twice, we've been to Alaska twice, we've been to Mackinac Island, we've been to the Caribbean a few times. He loves these places. Been to Lake Tahoe, we've been to Vegas, California. I think we've touched about just about all the states on the West Coast, the southern states. We've been to Niagara Falls twice. We went there for our anniversary and then went back there again for our 1-year anniversary. So we have traveled so much in this short time that we've been together. So all our trips are meaningful and planned out, and so this past year we decided that we were going to do a road trip to really test our love, to make sure we were really in love, and we passed. We finished every day happy. And again, go back and look at our channel, Where's True Love, WEIRS TRUELOVE, all one word, to look at those videos. I didn't do every single day, but I did almost every day. Mainly because I didn't think to do a video until we got into it, a day video, each day video, until after we got into it. But we loved that trip so much that we've decided to plan another road trip. So we thought, and there were some other things that I'm very interested in, and we really like the Black history part of Route 66 and bringing back information that was very interesting. We shared on our Facebook page and this, our YouTube page, and people were just really interested in it. So and we were very interested in it. We loved everything about it. We just did. So we decided that this year we're going to do an East Coast road trip and touch on some history as we travel the East Coast. And I've done a draft, just a preliminary itinerary that I wanted to start researching, but we hope that it's going to be as much fun as our Route 66 road trip was. But some of the places, and I wrote down a list of what we wanted to do, was that we wanted to go and touch on with historical significance would be like one of the places is, so we live in Tennessee, we're going to go up the East Coast. We had thought about going to North Carolina first and then going up the coast, but we really only have 2 weeks to do it, so we're not going to be able to touch on everything. So maybe next time we'll be able to, maybe when we retire, we'll be able to do a much longer one. But right now we just really had to narrow it down to just a few of the highlights. So Roanoke, we wanted to go to New York. So Roanoke from Tennessee is about halfway there. So I looked to see what was in Roanoke, and Booker T. Washington National Park is not far from there. So we hope to be able to visit that area on our way to New York. In New York, we really wanted to visit the Harriet Tubman, where she's buried, and things like that, and other people like that. But we looked at that, and to go that far, we're going to save that for another trip. But neither one of us have been to New York, Statue of Liberty, so we were going to really just do some touristy things there. Statue of Liberty and Ground Zero, or the World Trade Center, the monument, and maybe visit Harlem, and just some of that type of Black history stuff. And also, if you have suggestions, we would really love to hear those. Like I said, I'm in the preliminary stages of planning these, and we want to touch on as much as we can in the short amount of time that we have. So if you have any suggestions, we would love to hear those. So we want to look at that. And then I'm a big Halloween not fanatic, but I really love those types of things. So I learned that Sleepy Hollow is up there. Irving is buried up there. We want to go visit that. And then go on to Boston and do the Freedom Trail. I was in Boston just a few months ago, but I didn't have time to do much of anything that I wanted to do, so I wanted to go back and do that. Now, another little twist, something different on this trip is going to be, I'm very interested in the witch trials of Salem and how all those innocent people had to be hanged and killed because of suspected witches and being suspected witches. And so I've been learning some interesting information about that. And just a couple of things is that, number one, they hired somebody to oversee the witch trials. And they really, I mean, there were hundreds, like 300 people who were accused, but like maybe around 20 were actually executed as being witches. That the person who led those witch trials came forward like a couple of years after all of this and said he was sorry, that he made mistakes, and he really believed those people were innocent. So that really just touched my heart. And to learn why people were accused of witches. Basically, if you just disliked somebody, you could accuse them of being a witch. They particularly didn't like women who owned land. And I believe this with all my heart, and you can be mad if you want to, but I believe that they did, they accused them of witches so they could take their land away from them. If a woman was of a high status and her husband died and she was to inherit their land, it was a way to accuse her of being a witch. They accused her of being a witch so they could take her land away. And I remember reading and hearing about that stuff when I was in college and some of the classes we took. So and that really touched my heart, and I really believe that. And then the two young girls that got it all started, because they were having fits and seizures and things like that, and doctors were saying they're not regular seizures, these are demonic seizures. And there could be any kind of reason why those young girls are acting that. Number one, I have two daughters, and I know they can be loopy at sometimes. And I at one time was a teenager, and I was loopy at sometimes. We got hormones and stuff that make us act differently, but because they both acted the same way at the same time, girls sneak out. I'm sure they snuck out back then. They got with some people who gave them some peyote or something. There's some reason why they did that, but I'm very interested in the Salem witch trial, so I've been doing a lot of research on those. So we're going to go visit the memorial for the Salem, those who were accused of being witches. And I did learn that through the year, over the last 300 years, that each witch, accused witch, had been pardoned. And the very last one that was pardoned in 2000. We got mosquitoes here in Tennessee. It's a bad time. So the last one that was pardoned was only actually pardoned in 2022. So that is very interesting information. So I'm just in the beginning stages of learning all of that stuff, or getting refreshed on those. So I'm very interested in the Salem witch trial. So we're going to go to Salem and report on some of that stuff and do videos and show you the memorial. We did learn that they were buried in a certain spot, but after they were, coming forward saying that they've made mistakes, that they weren't really witches, the families had to move to secret places. So, but there is a memorial that's there for them. So I'm very interested in that. I think that's really going to be the big highlight for me on this trip. And then we're going to spend some time at Martha's Vineyard. We learned that there was a black area at one time called Oak Bluffs. That was the black area of Martha's Vineyard. And there's hotels and Airbnbs and things like that over there. And we're going to just catch the ferry over there and take our electric bikes and just spend the 3 days. We're going to spend about 3 nights over there and riding our bikes around and exploring Martha's Vineyard. And there's a beach there called Inkwell that was just a derogatory term that was given to the beach area because it was a black populated beach. And it was given as a sign of disrespect. The name was, they just called it that. So the black people just embraced it. It's like, fine, we're this Inkwell Beach. Well, later on, the white people who were embarrassed that it was the name, they wanted the name changed. And the black people were like, no, we own it now. We own this name. So it's Inkwell Beach. So there's Inkwell Beach there. So we've found an Airbnb that's close to that. So we're very excited about that. And then let me look at my notes. So we're going to be doing that, and then just come back down and spend some time at Virginia Beach because we've stayed there before and we really liked it. So we're going to go and spend some time at Virginia Beach. And then there's a North Topsail Beach, and it at one time was called Ocean City, and that was another beach that was black populated. It was a black beach. We wanted to go visit there, and it is very expensive to stay there. So we're going to have to save up for this one too. We really travel on a budget and look at budget hotels and things so we can stay, but I'm not finding many budget options on this trip. But that's another place we want to visit. And then to round it off by visiting Wilmington, North Carolina. And that's a part of North Carolina that was had biracial governments and all, but there was this big coup that was led by a former Confederate soldier who did not want black people in politics. So he led this big coup, and hundreds and hundreds of black people had to flee their homes. Researching it reminded me of the report that we did on Black Wall Street when we did our Route 66 trip. So it's almost the exact same thing, only this one was very, very political. They didn't like it that black people served on councils and served in the government and things like that. So this former Confederate soldier led this big mob that would you stop doing that while we're doing this?
I'm sorry.
He hates mosquitoes. We live in Tennessee. He should be used to it, but it's very distracting.
I'm sorry. Go. Go. I'm sorry.
So he led this big mob to infiltrate the government. So that's what happened. And then for the next 50 years, they codified that black people couldn't be in government anymore. After that, that mob-led disbandment of the biracial government, he was elected mayor, and he had the laws changed that said that black people couldn't be in politics anymore. And that lasted for like 50 years. So so that's probably going to end our trip. We'll come back. We may stay in the Smoky Mountains on the way back, since it's about halfway between here and Wilmington, North Carolina. So so that's the trip that we're going to take. It's this time, rather than being all celebrating black people and white people, we're going to be celebrating black people. We're going to be honoring the witches, the accused witches. We're going to be honoring the black people in the black areas of Martha's Vineyard. We're going to be honoring all those who died in the 9/11 attacks, and just having a little bit of beach time, downtime, because these videos could take a lot of work sometimes, so we want to have a little bit of downtime. But we look forward to bringing you information about these trips that we're taking. And again, if you have any suggestions on trips that we might like as a couple, or things that you would like to see and you just can't get out and do it anymore, we would love to hear about those. And that's all I have for right now. Do you have anything, Mr. Swatting Mosquito Man?
No, just looking forward to the trip. As we go through our journey, we'll try to give you much footage as we can, what we experience and what we learn along the way. So
Yeah.
be looking for those.
Yeah. So next trip, Bull Shoals, then maybe to Branson up there, Defeated Creek. We've got a cruise, a couple of trips to Hollywood Beach, and then you know, there'll be others in between that and our big one. We do these little trips because we can't stand staying at home for too long. But those are just the ones that we have coming up so far, and we look forward to bringing you all the information we can about them. And don't forget to subscribe, so you'll hit the notification button so you'll get notified whenever we upload these videos. And thank you all for all the love you've shown and looking at our videos and liking them and leaving comments. We really appreciate that, and it lets us know that there's people out there that are interested in things like this. And we do this a lot too, because we have a lot of church members that can't get out anymore and who would love to travel and can't travel, and they always tell us they feel like we brought them along with us. So we do a big part for that too, but we're always happy to do what we can and to help people and get people out traveling more and seeing the world. There's more than just our little bubble. So that's it for me. That's it for him. Okay. And we'll see you the next time we see you.
Bye.
Bye.